Noah, I've had the pleasure of speaking to you a couple times this season already. Kind of catch us up what 2025 has brought for you.
Yeah, it's been a wild year so far. We started off really well at Slinger this year. We had three top 10 finishes to roll off the trailer for the first 3 weeks of the season, and then we went to go race at Madison for the last 2 weeks and just didn't fall our way. So a couple mechanical issues and some other odds and ends that we got to tie up, but hopefully we should be able to turn it back around when we go back to Madison one more time this week, and we'll see what we got, and hopefully we can turn our program around.
Yeah, so currently, right now, we're sitting in June of 2025. Let's mention that you are a Purdue University student in engineering right now. So, does this mean you are on summer break, so to speak, from any courses, or are you still trying to balance that with your racing career?
Yeah, definitely. I'm in Calc 3 again because it didn't work out for me the first time. So I'm in
That could
Calc
be
3
for
again.
anyone.
Hey, it was a tough class, but yeah, we're back in Calc 3 doing that again, and hopefully we'll get through it. And it's definitely a really hard class. So balancing course load and being at work too during the daytime is another thing to look at, and then also spending time in the shop when we get home. So it's quite a few things to you know task at hand to take care of.
Well, just like Alan Quickie did in his career, he was working, he was always very busy, he was well educated. How much do you think that plays an advantage for you as a race car driver, and the path that you're taking at Purdue?
I think it plays a really big role into it because I'm able to take a lot of things and look at it more analytically,
Hmm.
and also take a lot more data into account. So going down that pathway, I think is going to be a really good thing for me, and hopefully it works out for me. And I can apply it to my racing and also other people's racing down the line when I want to either get into the career side of things, whether that be car chief, crew chief, shock specialty, whatever it may be. I think it'll set me up better in the long run.
And not only are you busy with school, Noah, with your racing career, but then you're really heavily involved in volunteering your time. Tell us about some of the things you've done recently.
Yeah, it's been a cool thing to spend a lot of time with a lot of the older people in my community, more specifically veterans. We've spent a lot of time with veterans on Memorial Day weekend, with that being a long weekend, and getting some time away from work to, spend some time out in the community. My grandparents are also very involved with the city of Freeport, so they had me come down and help out a little bit, getting that parade set up for them because they're the only ones that handle it. So they figured, why not call me and we'll get it all organized and set up. So. Also, we spent some time out at the Stevenson County Antique Engine Club. They had I think a 2-day service lunch that we went out and helped out with. A lot of those veterans do come down from the parade afterwards and spend a lot of time down there because a lot of them are very involved in both activities, whether that be the Vietnam chapter and the engine club. So I've also had the pleasure of knowing a lot of those guys, and not only guys but also women throughout my whole childhood. So it's neat to see them every weekend when I get a chance. And also growing up, they also supported my racing too. So I was glad to get back and support them.
Tell me what you've been able to learn through this development program and through all the parts and pieces included. You have a lot of obligations you have to abide by, right? As
Mhm.
a finalist for this program. So, with everything you have going on, what has been like a big takeaway for you personally, Noah?
I mean, like you said, time management. The schedules are very crazy right now with meetings and meeting people and taking care of things on my car by myself and with my family, aside from that. So just making sure I have time for everything, work, school, racing, parents, family, whatever it may be, girlfriend, it's very important to keep things in line and, spending time with the people that actually make my life a lot easier and giving back to them as well, I think is very important.
What do you have left on your plate for 2025? What do you want to do?
I'd like to get a win this year. It's a lot of people have been asking me when am I going to break through, and I've gave a lot of races away that should have been mine. It's really been heavy on my mind lately. It's really weighed down on me. So hopefully we can break through. And a lot of people have put in a lot of time in this car in my program over the last 16 years, and it's time. It's time to get them the deserving respect that they get.
And as you move up in series and as your career progresses, you have a lot more tools and resources you can lean into. as a driver, but at the beginning stages, you might not necessarily. What have you been able to learn or apply that's kind of helped you for this year to get that win for 2025 that you're talking about? Because you don't have necessarily the same tools that you get later on in your racing career.
Yeah, definitely growing up here, reaching out to other drivers that have been racing, late model for the last 20 years. I mean, I'm going up to Madison and we're racing against Michael Bilderback. We're racing against John Reynolds Jr. I mean, they've been running at Rockford since I was even born. So them running Big Eight and having the knowledge of going to pretty much any track around here, I can go up and ask them, lift points, break points, anything that might help my program benefit and my skill set benefit of what we can do better. So I think having those in my back pocket is a really neat tool.
What's some of the advice that they've given you? What's something that you've kind of held true to your heart?
Um, if I had to actually say, I think John Reynolds Jr. told me one time, like, just be yourself behind the wheel, you'll figure it out and just keep your head in the game at all times. You never know what's going to happen and just stay in it. I mean, he himself has had a rough couple weeks here and he rolled a car a couple weeks ago. And when we raced against him at Slinger didn't work out. But like I said earlier, I watched him for years growing up at Rockford, and Rockford was our home track as well. So I know that I can, even though we're not really even close, I can trust him with good information, reliable information too. And it's nice knowing that I have a good competitor out there like him that I've watched grow up or watched as I've grown up. Really helped me out. It's a really cool thing.
Yeah, Rockford was my home track as well. That's where my dad raced in the 70s and 80s. So I have a lot of history in those parts of Illinois as well. What's been your driving force and what motivates you to go after these goals right now? Like the reason you do this racing career?
Just to, it's the really, I've said to a lot of people, it's really the only thing I can see myself doing. A lot of kids grow up like I have, getting into go-karts early. But a lot of times they fall off the beaten path of, other interests and other interests spark up and, later as you're in your childhood where maybe they don't want to race forever. So I think me finding my passion early, but also finding other areas of that specific interest, like being on the career side of things other than racing myself in the seat, I think has allowed me to not get burnt out, I guess, but
Mhm.
also to look at it in a different aspect of, where I can make some money in my future and, put my best foot forward, really.
Do you have a backup plan?
If I'm not in the seat, I'll be on the box, hopefully, calling shots. Hopefully if it's not crew chief, it hopefully will be car chief or shock specialist. That's really kind of the direction I've headed mentally. So I'm kind of trying to prepare for that with course loads and things of that nature.
How many courses do you have left in your Purdue University trek?
Don't ask me that question. That's a
A
bad
lot.
question to ask me. That's a lot. Don't remind me.
Well, every day is another day closer, right? So that's a little bit closer, a little bit closer. What do you have left on racing on tap for this year? What's the race that you have like circled on your agenda that you want to go after as that win? Is there one particular race or event coming up?
It was gonna be WIR because we never raced there before. July 3rd. Unfortunately, it did just get canceled last week. So we unloaded with good pace there last year. And I had a really good setup that I wanted to go back with, but unfortunately that got canceled. So I'll have to take a look at that. We got a couple schedule changes coming up just for um co-wiki points actually, because I need to count some races here soon. So we'll have some schedule changes released to the public here within the next week or so. I think we're going back to the Dells here pretty soon. So looking back, we always are always strong there. So I'm looking forward to going back there.
When you go on your race weekends, Noah, how much help do you have? Talk about, tell us a little bit more about like the support that you have.
Like a lot of people, it's a family affair. It's me, dad, grandpa, sometimes Terry DeBoer, Cole Trickle, my friend, my best friend comes along pretty frequently. Sometimes it's Peyton Walker, my other friend. So it's a pretty small team. My mom does a lot for us when she can. My girlfriend does a little couple things when she can, but it's a pretty small team. So it's pretty much three or four of us doing the grunt work, and that's kind of it. It's the small world that makes the thing go around.
That's cool though. I love to hear about your family involved and to have that as your support. A lot of people don't have that. So that's really cool to hear that side of you, Noah. What's been a big takeaway from this program in itself that you've kind of added to your um, toolbox, so to speak? I know we've done a lot of interview training. You've had the opportunity to talk to some people through the Alan Quickie Driver Development Program, a lot of guests. I know we have some more coming up between crew chiefs and um, training and how to train in a car. But what has been some of the takeaways that you've learned through this program?
I just think like being in college too at the same time as going through this program is getting your connections straight while I'm
Mhm.
in this, weird transition of life between high school and into the workforce while I'm in college, is building your connections in your database of people in your network of people to have in your back pocket because that's all really racing is anymore is connections and who you know and
Yeah.
it's not what you know. So having my mentor Brian at Hendrick, he's very cool to talk with every week. We try to get meeting every Monday and meeting everyone who's a board member of this program has been very cool too because they're always looking out for my better interest too. Like Deb, she put me into contact with Ryan Newman and I thought that was very cool for her to do that. She didn't have to go out of the way to do that. So just having people in my corner that are looking out for my better interests has been very cool to have.
What did Ryan Newman give you as advice? I'm curious.
I'm trying to remember. I don't think he really gave me any intro or advice. He just kind of we talked a little bit and he was very cool and he said, "Come on down for a little 500." And I was like, "Yeah, kind of busy that weekend." I think we ended up racing that weekend. So unfortunately, I couldn't join Ryan Newman at the little 500, but it would have been very cool to take him up on the offer.
If you had the opportunity to meet Alan Kowicki and talk to him and kind of take away a piece of advice from him, what would you ask him?
I guess knowing when, how should I word it? Knowing when the time is right to, enjoy the career aspect of your side of racing versus actually being in the seat of racing because he uh he did also the schooling part. Like a lot of people know he did the schooling part. So he was able to actually take it and go to the racing side. But I wonder when he kind of made that decision of, his side is racing, but in my personal experience, it might be the career side of things sitting on the box. So just kind of when that switch might need to flip on myself to get out of
Mhm.
the seat and knowing when that time is kind of something that's been on my mind lately. And, I might have to have that talk with myself or someone else here pretty soon.
For sure. Well, that's cool. It's good to hear your perspective. I enjoyed getting to know more about you. Every time I talk to you, I learn a little bit more about you. So it's cool. And now when we cross paths actually in person at the racetrack, we can connect there as well. Again, it's all about making connections in our sport. Our racing community is quite small, actually, for as big as it is. We're all one tight family. So we wish you the best of luck the remainder of 2025. I hope I get a chance to chat with you again, and good luck for the rest of 2025, Noah.
Yes, thank you so much. Nice speaking with you again.